Ongoing situation of unrest in Kashmir has been hampering the lives of the students. The numerous strikes in the valley has led to the shutdown of schools, because of which the younger generation is unable to go to school on a regular basis. Now, students of the valley want politics to be kept away from their education. Mir Farid now joins us for more details. Farid, obviously the unrest in the state is keeping several of these students from going to school, and they now obviously want that politics doesn't affect their education and the ability for them to go to school regularly.
Yes, that's right. In fact, the first casualty of the ongoing unrest and turmoil has been the education sector. Now, the rate at which the schools are getting closed because of the situation is seriously, it's very alarming. Because just a few days back, in fact, after a long winter break, the schools had to reopen. On the very first day, there was some turmoil. There was a situation where some people, in fact, a militant was killed. There was a shutdown, and then the authorities also imposed curfew. So the very first day of the new session was lost. Then again, if we talk of the last at least 1 or 2 weeks, we've seen on and off schools getting closed. So now the parents, the students are a worried lot. They want that the education should be completely detached from politics. They want that they should be allowed to study. Education is their basic right, but unfortunately the situation is such in the Kashmir Valley that every other day you have a situation due to one reason or the other where the schools get closed. Now, if we talk of the last 28 odd years of turmoil in the Kashmir Valley, education sector has suffered a lot. But of late, the impact of the situation on the education sector has only increased. You talk of the shutdown calls that keep coming on and off, and then to add to that, now the authorities, it seems, have become very overcautious. Whenever there are restrictions, they also shut down schools and colleges. So that has really affected the students and the parents, who are now demanding that they be allowed the basic right to education. There should be a situation where on both sides, be it the government or the separatists, they should at least understand that the education of the students, the next generation, is very important. It should be kept away from politics, and there should be a situation or some kind of an arrangement where at least schools should be allowed to run. The students should be allowed to go to school and ensure that they get proper schooling and education. So that is something that the parents and the students are now demanding. We spoke to students from all across the Kashmir Valley, people who are really frustrated at the way their education session, their curriculum is getting affected by the situation. And then also parents clearly are helpless. They are only really pleading to the people concerned, to all stakeholders in the Kashmir Valley, that they should allow their kids to go to school, because if the way things are happening, if this continues, this is going to have a disastrous impact on the education sector generally and on the future generations, because already there is a situation where students in the Kashmir Valley feel left behind when they compare themselves with students from other parts of the country. Even from Jammu, they feel that those people are way ahead when it comes to the quality of education. So that is something that everyone needs to take care of. And now it is a situation, high time, that education is completely separated from politics, and that's what the parents and the students here are demanding. Back to you.
Right, absolutely, Farid. While, of course, that is what the parents and students want, but also the angle of safety would also need to be taken into account, because when there's a curfew, when there's a shutdown, if they plan to manage to separate schools and not be subject to these kind of shutdowns, they also have to ensure that no child or nobody is harmed or hurt when there is a curfew or shutdown in place.
Well, absolutely. This is the delicate balance that they'll have to strike. But again, if you talk of the first casualty of this turmoil or conflict, it is the education sector. While this has been happening on and off in the last many years of the turmoil or the insurgency in the Kashmir Valley, but of late the impact has only increased. You're absolutely right. Now the new dimension that has been added to all this is the fact that the authorities now close down schools, educational institutions because they feel that there could be a situation where there could be student protests. Now, what the parents are saying is that they can they do it in isolation. Why to really close down schools across the Kashmir Valley? If there is a situation where they feel that there can be student protests or things can go out of hand, they can shut down that particular institution. Do it in isolation rather than going for a blanket shutdown of all the educational institutions.
Right.
So that is something that the authorities should take note of. That is a very wise suggestion as far as the parents are concerned. And that is something that needs to happen in the near future.
Absolutely. Thanks very much, Fareed, for joining us with all of that.